welcome back to another episode number 135 of the so-called Sports Analyst. Josh, how you doing?
Um, Recovering, I guess. Not doing too great. It was a rough Sunday, just as a whole.
Yeah,
Spurs and Chiefs. So yeah, we're here on a Monday, tired as
yeah.
hell, but we're doing this podcast.
Yep. Wait, the Spurs are 5-1, right?
Yep, 5-1.
Same as the Bulls. Bulls and Spurs, they're gonna have the exact same
Someone
record
needs to take
too.
down the Thunder.
Yeah, I know. They can't steal our thunder, literally. But I don't the Bulls and Spurs play next Saturday? No. Next next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. No, but all right, before we start, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called sports analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. And make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. All right, let's go ahead and get into this NFL Week 9 reactions. So first game we're going to start with is sadly this Monday Night Football game. Arizona Cardinals upset the Dallas Cowboys. They win 27-17 in a very surprising loss right here. Josh, anything from this game right here?
Yeah, it was a complete, utter disaster by the Dallas Cowboys on both sides. Like, I think both sides played absolutely terrible. I mean, I will say the defense looked better than usual, like, which was weird
We
to say,
got some
even though
stops. Yeah.
they got work, like a lot of third and longs and then a couple fourth down conversions, like they weren't able to stop the Arizona Cardinals. But there was a
Yeah.
lot of pressure being created from Donovan Ezeriki, George
Mhm.
Jadavion Clowney before he kind of went down with that injury, and Dante Fowler, even dealing with injury, had kind of a
Mhm.
really good game by his standards, especially this season at least. But if we look at the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, like there has to be a question being asked within that locker room, within that
Yeah.
organization about should we keep moving forward with Kyler Murray? Because five straight games, for 5 straight games, the Cardinals have blown leads.
Mhm.
But over the last couple that Jacoby Brissett has played, even versus the Green Bay Packers, even now versus Dallas Cowboys with a high scoring offense, he
Mhm.
has been able to get this offense going. Marvin Harrison had his most catches in the he tied his most catches in a game in the first half in this one. I mean, he kind of went quiet in that second half, but he really didn't need to do much because the run game was just clicking and Trey McBride started getting going. But
Yeah.
outside of that, he's really unlocking these receiving options. Even a guy like Michael Wilson, who he's hitting over
Yeah.
the middle multiple times for big gains that really put the Arizona Cardinals in really good positions. And I feel like if you're a Cardinals fan, I don't know how you want to see your team go back to Kyler Murray after watching what Jacoby Brissett was able to do with the same weapons and do it better over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was one thing I was a little concerned about, and then I was relieved. I'm like, okay, cool, Jacoby Brissett's playing, but I didn't realize, like, even though Jacoby Brissett, like, I've seen him play good, like, actually, like, watching an entire game of him, he is a very competent quarterback, and with honestly, other than Trey McBride, subpar weapons. We know I'll I'll say this about Marvin Harrison. Let's give him another week, then I'll say he's kind of on that trajectory again of maybe not a superstar receiver, but being a star receiver because he's done a lot better. But I think the biggest thing in this game right here, as far as just a game in general, I'm not going to count that last Dak turnover because it was kind of like last second, fourth and 20 something. But the Jake Ferguson fumble and then the Javante Williams fumble, those were just key mistakes right there. And back-to-back weeks, offenses had really bad days, back-to-back weeks. So that's I don't know if it's concerning. I feel like it'll get back to normal, and also the offensive line was very shaky. But it's now it's time to ask you about this. So I think it was released, yeah, about 8 hours ago. Jerry Jones said a trade was official on the defensive side of the ball. We don't know the caliber of the trade as far as there's been names as far as Minka Fitzpatrick, Trey Henderson, all the way up to lower tier guys so like Logan Wilson, Arden Key, or maybe Jeffrey Simmons, or maybe a Max Crosby. So do you think that could do anything for this Cowboys team with them being 3-5-1 with their harder part of the schedule coming up?
Honestly, I think we heard what Joe Buck and Trakeman were talking about um during the game. Like this is more than just a one player problem. Like this is
Yep.
a whole entirety of a defense problem. Like even
Yeah.
Deron Bland was getting cooked in this game, who they paid big money to buy
Yep.
Marvin Harrison and even Michael Wilson. himself. So it's like it's more than just one guy, and I don't think a trade is really going to do much. Rather, it's just going to be able to get the team excited just for a little bit, just for it to be disappointed. Like I don't think this is something that you can fix overnight. It's definitely you need multiple players to fix this. You need a new scheme to fix this. The offense isn't the problem. It's completely on the defensive end. And for
Yeah.
me, I don't know. I don't know who could be that big of a game changer right now in the season that is available that could really wreak havoc for
Mhm.
the Dallas Cowboys to put them in a good position. I mean, you had him and you traded him away. So I don't know if it's like
Yep.
there's someone available that
Mhm.
is able to do that, because I don't think you get that from the secondary position, because you it doesn't start with a secondary position. It starts
Yeah.
with the defensive line. And if you're
Mhm.
not really getting one of those major guys that really do something, and I like the point that they made also on the broadcast as well, that Trey Hendrickson may be a guy that's available or an option. But the thing is, Trey Hendrickson was literally on this defense last year, and he did nothing. It wasn't able to help them for anything, and he led the
Yep.
league pretty much in sacks. So it's like,
Yeah, that
um,
is very true.
it didn't even matter how good he was doing when the rest of the defense was unable to keep par. So um, for me, it's just like we'll see what they do. They say they might make multiple trades, and it's just kind of one of those to see if Jerry Jones really never does that. So we're gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah, and okay, I'll say this, the only trade that I will be content with, and I also think is a trade that is the most long shot, is Max Crosby. And the reason why I'm saying this is obviously it'll help this year, but he's on a contract for the next 4 years and is a younger guy. But like if you trade for a Bradley Chubb, a Minka, or Jeffrey, or even Jeffrey Simmons, I'd be fine with that. But somebody who's on a longer term contract that could help this team out for multiple years, that's the only guy I'll be fine with. But honestly, I'm not saying punt the rest of the season. I think this offense is going to be too competitive, but I think we're going to, if we trade for a defensive guy, maybe we'll be what, 9-7-1, or yeah, that would be the record, 9-7-1, something along the lines, and barely miss the playoffs, which we're going to talk about in a second. The NFC is so damn competitive, so I don't even think we'll have a chance. But yeah, I think as far as just to wrap up this entire game, it just shows the Cardinals are better than what they were expected, and the Cowboys, they're hitting the ball at the right time because they're really going down. Offense is getting much worse as the weeks go on, and then the defense has been the defense. We'll just see what happens with the trade. I'm pretty sure we'll address that Thursday whenever that happens. But all right, Josh, let's go ahead and talk about your team right here, the annual Bills versus Chiefs game, in which history repeats itself one more time. The Bills, they beat the Chiefs. Uh, there it goes, 28-21 in this one, where the Chiefs had kind of a last hurrah to try to tie the game. Mahomes threw a pick in this one, kind of like last minute or last late thing. Takeaways from the game.
Yeah, I just think the Buffalo Bills came in here with more moxie. They came in with more energy, and they came in with a better game plan than the Kansas City Chiefs did. And it was quite apparent just from the first drives from both teams that this was going to be a long day for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you just saw the confidence that the Buffalo Bills played with. And I'm not saying that the Chiefs weren't confident. Maybe they were overconfident, if we're being completely honest. I think it was more like that they didn't expect the Bills to come out firing the way that they did, especially because this is the best performance the Buffalo Bills has put on all season defensively. Like, if we're looking at a whole
Yeah.
defensive standpoint, especially along the defensive line and the secondary as well, with Maxwell Harrison coming back. But that defensive line had not been creating a lot of pressures or getting a lot of sacks throughout the entirety of this season. But versus the Kansas City Chiefs, they were able to step up in a big way. And I'm not saying that it was only based off because the Chiefs were missing their starting left tackle, which they have been for the last 4 games, and that Jawan Taylor was playing atrocious before he actually walked away with the foot injury, and who knows what Trey Smith is still dealing with. But
Yeah.
even with all that being said, Mahomes in this game had literally no time. Like, he had no time in the pocket. I think there was a stat that he was getting pressured on 50% of his dropbacks, and that he went like 3 for 16 and an interception on in this game alone. And for me, what it comes down to is play calling. I think the play calling in this
Yeah.
game was absolutely atrocious by Andy Reid. I think this was probably his worst performance of the season as a play caller. Like, we started off the game hitting Rasheed Rice when we wanted things to happen, but we went completely away from what we're used to doing, almost for the entirety of this game, because we there was no RPOs being ran,
Mhm.
no routes being really close to the line of scrimmage. A lot of Mahomes stuff was him looking
Yeah.
deep down the field, hoping someone got open. And a lot of the Chiefs' success on their drives that they got success on was big plays. The big plays happened, but it's because they were
Mhm.
seeking these big plays rather than playing their
Yeah.
fundamental football that the Chiefs are used and accustomed to playing. And so that's why the Buffalo Bills just outright won this football game. The Chiefs really had no answers. This defense had put on their worst performance, probably, I think, in the last couple of seasons. It it really showed because in the box score because dude, you had I mean, for 33 straight games, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't allow a running back to rush over 100 yards. James Cook had 114. Though it took him 27 carries to do it, he
Yeah.
still got to 114
And we
yards in
talked
this
about
game.
that on
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
And then Dalton Kincaid, they hadn't allowed a 100-yard receiver in 11 games, and now Dalton Kincaid walks away with 101. So the Bills were able to pick apart the Chiefs' weaknesses that they found, and that's things especially across the defensive line. Our pass rush is absolutely bad. Like if you're going to ask me a weakness along this team, and I will say this, one of the worst contracts in football right now is Chris Jones. Like I think it's one of the worst contracts in football because over this last season, over this season, he has been non-existent. Like he has not been the same guy in important situations. Like we understand Chris Jones may take some time off, but when it comes down to the fourth quarter, who's always going to show up and make big plays, especially against the likes of Josh Allen. And in a couple of games this season, Chris Jones has been the reason why we have lost football games. Like especially in that Los Angeles Chargers game when he failed to hold contain and went inside and lost us the football game. In this one, he didn't show up anywhere and wreak havoc anywhere. He was not a factor in the pass rush, not a factor in the run defense, and it really slowed down the rest of the defensive line because if he's not making big plays, it's really hard for guys like George Karlaftis, who though is a good pass rusher, really needs that star alongside him for him to be at his full capability. And that just hasn't been existent this season with Chris Jones. And I feel like he needs to step up in a big way, or the Chiefs need to make a big move for someone that can bring a little bit more juice along that defensive line, like someone like Fonzo was alluding to. A guy that I really wanted, Jalen Phillips, just got traded to Philadelphia Eagles. So
Yeah.
that makes them a lot stronger. But Jeffrey Simmons, Max Crosby will never become a Kansas City
What
Chief.
about a
But
Jermaine
there's
Johnson?
yeah, see, that's who I was thinking about as well. But
Mhm.
and then like Jeffrey Simmons, Jermaine Johnson. Oh, is this some things that we're gonna have to wait and see on? Like who can
Yeah.
we really realistically make a move for? Today, all day, I was checking my phone, like, oh, the trade deadline's at 4, trade deadline's at 4, because I was
Yeah.
thinking like it was Tuesday already, but it was
Oh,
really
yeah.
tomorrow. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll just have to see what they do. I think the Chiefs saw like what they saw probably from Kareem Hunt. So I don't know if we see a
Mhm.
real big move for a running back, but along these defensive line, there has to be a move made. And we're supposed to get Josh Simmons back this next game, so that should be a big boost to the offense.
Mhm. Well, okay. As far as from this game right here, kind of like to the same sentiments, just offensively wise with the Cowboys and the Chiefs, I'm not worried about this team offensively. I don't expect Patrick Mahomes to
Yeah, I
have
mean, we almost came
another.
back in this game.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing in this one. Patrick Mahomes literally had his worst statistical day ever. I think least amount of completions and just, yeah, least amount of completions. And Josh Allen had his best completion percentage in Bills history. And it was a 7-point game, and Patrick Mahomes had a chance to tie the ball game. So I think that pretty much says everything right there. And honestly, it really didn't improve nothing, in my opinion. It really didn't improve nothing because we see the Bills do this every single year. And I hate to be that type of person to say wait till January, but honestly, it's been the same thing the last 4 years with the Buffalo Bills. So it's going to just have to be prove it in the postseason. And okay, this is kind of like off topic. I've never seen, just in general, a quarterback be so dominant in the regular season versus another team, and then come postseason, it completely flips. I don't think I've ever seen that in NFL history before. I think this is the first time ever.
Well, my thing is that Josh Allen never plays bad in the regular season. He has really big games. The thing is, it comes down to those little minute things where like you need a big play, and he just fails to get it for you in the
Mhm.
postseason. And if you actually look at the statistics, the Bills actually get better in the postseason when they play the Chiefs the second time
Yeah,
around. It's just that the Chiefs astronomically go from 20 points per game to 34 points per game when they
yeah,
play them in the postseason. So the Chiefs improved drastically in the postseason. I mean, it's evident. I mean, they've been to what eight straight conference championships, 4 straight Super
Yeah.
Bowls. So it's kind of one of those things like they're the better team more often than not when it comes to when it really matters. And for me, I'm not too worried about if the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. The only thing I'm worried about is if the Chiefs are going to win the division at this point. Like I
Yeah.
think losing 4 games puts us in a really rough spot. I'm
And if
I'm
you
not putting against us that we can win out. But the thing is, we haven't beat a team when they score 20 plus points this season. And I don't know if that's because we're
yeah, I was wondering if
unable to
you
get
saw
things
that
going.
stat. Yeah.
But the thing is,
Mhm.
the Jaguars game, we should have won. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
saying the Jaguars are not a good football team. Like they are just not a good
Mhm.
football team. I think it's been evident over the last couple of weeks that they are wholeheartedly not, and they were frauds the entire time. But the
Mhm.
Chiefs in that game made a lot of mistakes, and they allowed them to get back to that football game. And then they were one big mistake on that pick six that really changed the momentum of that entire football game and put the Chiefs really in a bind. And they really did that to themselves. So the Chiefs right now and should be 6-3, and 6-3 looks a lot better than 5-4, but that's not the reality that we're in right now. So it just comes down to we got to show up when it matters. Like there has to be a wholehearted thing, and I'm tired of this. Like the one thing I'm tired about with the Chiefs over the last couple of seasons is that the Chiefs come out like I feel like on their first drive quite a bit against really in important games, very stale. Like they come out very
Mhm. Like no
conservative. They don't
urgency.
yeah, there's no urgency to really push the ball down the field. But when we play these lesser teams, we're moving the ball down the field no matter what in that
Mhm.
first drive. I want to see more execution on the initial start of the game so it can create better fluidity throughout the entirety of the game after that. Because
Yeah.
now you have a lot more confidence built up. Because early in this game, we went down pretty much 2 possessions early on.
Yeah.
So it really was just comeback city after that and just really pressing things quite a bit. And it didn't work out for the Chiefs at all.
Well, okay.
And
If I
there's
could
no
just
reason Clyde Edwards-Helaire should be touching the ball.
no. Yeah, no.
There's
There's
no
there's
reason he
no
should be touching the
reason.
ball.
No, but okay. Let me flip this to you. Okay. I'm not gonna be the person to say, oh, this is gonna be the time where the Chiefs lose, but it's a little bit it looks a little different this year as far as where the Chiefs against the lesser teams, they usually don't lose those close games and they don't look buttoned up as they usually do. And I'll say this, even though the Chiefs offense has been great and it's Andy Reid's side of the ball, can you agree with me that Andy Reid hasn't been on his normal A game that he
Yeah.
usually is? Like as
No,
far as
like
just management with the clock, or as just far as late game execution, you go even back to Philly. What was that, week 2, something along those lines? So he just hasn't been the best, and I think that's infecting the team here, where they wouldn't have normally lost those games years prior.
yeah, well, I think my biggest thing in the first 2 games really came down to Harrison Butker. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I do wholeheartedly think when you miss points, 4 points for
Yeah,
sure in the Eagles game, it puts the play calling in a bind. Like I'm not going to
yeah,
sit here and be mad at him in that game or even in the Chargers per se, because the Chargers, honestly, we look back at that game, they were the better team that day. Like they were
yeah,
wholeheartedly the better team that day. And they were at full health on that offensive line. And Harrison Booker missed an extra point. So like that really hurt
yeah,
us for the entirety of the game. But if we look at this game specifically, I mean, you have the best player in the world in the red zone on 4th and 3, and you run the ball. Okay, so you come in on first down. The defense, you come in on first and goal. The defense has to respect that you have the option to run or pass. So what do you do
mhm,
usually? You pass the ball because you don't
yeah,
lose time. It stops the clock if
yep,
it's not completed. If you complete it, more than likely than not, it's a touchdown within that close into the goal line. So you do that, stop the clock. Now on second down, you have the freedom to run or pass the ball because you didn't waste so much time within that first
yeah,
goal. But when you run the ball initially, you have to throw the ball 3 straight times after that because you just can't like run the ball. Now you're out of timeouts. Now you put your team in a bind after that. And you have the best player in the world who you're comfortable with going 4th and 17 with. You can't go 4th and 1, fourth and
yeah,
goal to go get a touchdown. I mean, I understand in hindsight, maybe yes, you go for the points always because you're going to get the ball back in the second half, but still, you have the best player in the world. Let the best player in the world dictate what happens for your football team because he's done it so many times over and over
yeah,
again. Allow him to cook. It's Patrick freaking Mahomes. So like, you know how many the offensive coordinators would kill to have Patrick Mahomes on fourth down
Yeah.
every single time. So for me, I think it just comes down to little things. And in this one, we didn't see really Andy Reid run his bread and butter, which is the RPOs. Like he did not run that
Yeah.
consistently at all in this football game. And that's where the Chiefs eat, especially when Rashee Rice is on the football field.
Yep.
The Bills cannot touch Rashee Rice. Like they just cannot. And it
Yeah.
was clear on most of these plays. He was even open when Mahomes couldn't get there because the offensive line had already deteriorated by that point. But Rashee Rice is constantly a big playmaker. Just get your playmakers the ball. And as far as Xavier Worthy, what
Yeah.
are we
You went on
doing?
a rant.
Like,
Yeah.
why is
You went
Xavier
on a rant
Worthy
earlier.
only
Yeah.
getting 4 touches? Like, that's just my
Hmm.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
you spent a first round draft pick on him. I understand it. You get your gadget guy. You get the guy that's the fastest player in the history of football. You want him in the history of the NFL Combine. You want him to be able to get the ball in crucial moments because big plays are waiting to happen. But that just
Hmm.
doesn't happen. And then also, I'm not this guy to say this, but we did get hold on that third down. Like on that third down, that would have been a
Yeah.
third and
Yeah.
seven.
That
Ended up being
was.
fourth, third and 16. We still converted. I think no, we
Yeah.
didn't convert. I think we
I
ended up
thought
punting
y'all.
the ball.
Oh no.
No,
Yeah.
we
Y'all
punted the
punted. Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The
Yeah.
ball was tipped. It wasn't intentional grounding. I mean, that's my
Yeah.
last time I'm harp on it because that's not the only play we lose on. So, but as
Mhm.
far as that, Joey Bosa was trying to guard the screen. Like, if we're being completely honest, why am I this
it
open?
it just
Like, I feel
it
like it was
just
one of
did
those
look a
things.
little
Like, why
fishy.
did I feel like
Why did
I
nobody
feel like
block
you
me?
could definitely tell. Like, he was like, why did
Nobody's
nobody block
blocking me.
me? And then
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey was behind him, so he was
Yeah, he
he
thought it was
just.
a screen, but it did look fishy hindsight.
I
It did
mean,
look fishy.
from the angle.
Yeah.
But if you know ball, like he's like.
Yeah, yeah, he'd be like, "Wait, wait, what's
Because he
going
was
on right
so
here?"
confident running, and then he just suddenly went,
Like,
"Oh crap!"
"Wait."
And then he,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
realized, like, "Damn, like I'm no one's coming. There's no screen."
Yeah. Yeah, no, for real. But, I man, I'll just say as far as, like, just with Kansas City, let me look at their schedule. I know you probably know their schedule right now,
I
but
mean, it's a
as
little
of
tough. We got Denver coming up, then we got Indianapolis, and then I believe we play Tennessee, and then we
the
play
Texans.
Indianapolis, then we play Cowboys at least during this
Yeah.
stretch, which I'm not too worried about right now, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not looking forward to that game right there. I'm not looking forward to that one. No, but okay. I'll say this as far as just standing wise and as far as for the Chiefs, I feel like y'all have to if y'all lose one game to the Broncos and one more after that, I think it'll be wraps for the division. In all honesty, because I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
y'all
yeah.
catch
We can't,
Denver.
especially when the Chargers and the Broncos both like continue to stay
Mhm.
ahead. Like, okay, so my thing this week that I've been thinking, no one capitalized when the Chiefs were losing, but now the Chiefs are not capitalizing on everyone else
Yeah.
next to them.
They
So it's
could have
like,
got a game back with the
yeah,
Colts, yeah,
I
with the
mean,
Colts losing a
if
crazy
we look
game, yeah.
at Jags and the Bills game, Bills whooped our ass. The Jags game is gonna haunt the Chiefs for this whole
Yeah.
season. Like
Well,
you're up
honestly, you could say
14-0.
The Philly
I mean,
one too.
the Philly one, I think it sucks, but like I said, like it falls on top, really on top of one player why we lose that football game. Like I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly think that. Like I was calling for his head on the pod. Like, and I've never done that with Harrison
Yeah.
Butker because he's my Catholic
Yeah.
brethren. But dude, he was causing me to be angry. And but as
Yeah.
far as like these two games, the Bills, you needed to not need to win this game, but if you needed to win that Jaguars game, especially the way that you
Yeah.
did lose, like you had to pull that game out. And right now, it doesn't look as ugly being 6-3 compared to 5-4. Like, and that's just a whole
Yeah.
hard truth because now you're like stuck with no margin of error. Like, there's no really
Yeah.
real margin of error for the Kansas City Chiefs this year because honestly, you're out of the playoffs right now. And this is why we're going to talk about in a minute. I can't say Mahomes is the MVP right now. I can't even put him in the top
Mhm.
3 right now
Yeah.
because they're not in the playoffs. And I have to be realistic when it comes to that. If we were in the
Mhm.
playoffs, I'd be making the argument. But right now,
Yeah.
we're out of the sweepstakes, and we have to really work as a whole out of this bye week, which the Chiefs are one of the best teams out of the bye in the history of
Yeah.
football. They better, and especially after bye, what the Chiefs are able to do. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I do think the Denver Broncos are a terrible football team, and I do think the Kansas Chiefs are a lot better. So I think it's going to get going. And after, I mean, the Colts are. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but
Mhm.
The Colts for me,
Well,
I'm not too worried about them because
yeah.
6 turnovers, only lose by 1 touchdown. I'm not too like worried about that
Yeah.
if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. So like they were still able to hold their own. Just rough day. Daniel Jones went back to default. Needs to really get some new
Yeah. He went back
configure the
to a pumpkin.
settings. Yeah.
Halloween, it was he wanted to be a
Yeah, they
pumpkin
need
this
to
time.
reconfigure the settings and then
Mhm.
he'll be back to
Well
normal.
okay, we'll do this. Instead of, like, covering every single game, we'll cover the standings from both sides and kinda, like, pick apart from there, if that makes sense. That'll be a little bit easier to do. Okay, so we'll just stick with the AFC right here. As of right now, the playoff picture, you have 3 teams who are 7 and 2, Colts, who are the 1, New England, they're the 2 seed, Denver is a 3 seed, Pittsburgh is 5 and 3, the wild card Buffalo is 6 and 2, Chargers are 6 and 3, Jacksonville is 5 and 3. And we kind of like pick apart the games as we go here. So New England, they took care of business with Atlanta pretty convincingly. But okay, if you had to rank these AFC teams right now, like no real like critical like breaking down, how would you rank them as far as like overall team, better team? Because I think
Like if
as
I'm
of
doing a
right now,
power rankings, or if I'm doing
yeah,
like a
yeah, like a
I think
power rankings.
number one for me is gonna have to definitely be the New England Patriots. Like I think the
I agree.
Patriots right
Yeah.
now, like their defense is completely stout. Like I do think they had a rough one versus Michael Penix and Drake London in this one. So they were
Yeah.
really able to do a lot of things. But I mean the run defense is amazing for the New England
Yeah.
Patriots. They've been shutting down absolutely everybody. And they lose Kayshon Boutte on the other side, but I don't think that's a really big thing that matters. Like for me, like for some reason,
Mhm.
I'm predicting a Jacoby Myers reunion in New
They
England for
they
some
need a
reason.
wide receiver
So,
now, like especially
mhm.
with them like being this good. I think you have to capitalize on Drake May being on a rookie
and
contract.
And I do think you saw some good things from Travion Henderson this weekend. Like it wasn't like what a whole heart, but 18 touches for him and him
You
looking
love to see
quite
it.
some explosiveness within some of
Mhm.
his movements. And I know Tyrell Jennings had a good day as well. But as far as that, like you have playmakers along
Yeah.
this team, and Drake May is playing like right now the best quarterback in the NFL, I
Yeah.
think, this season. So especially what he's given. Like I feel like if I mean we can argue Matthew Stafford, we can argue Sam Darnold, we can argue Josh Allen, we can argue Patrick Mahomes. But when you look at the weapons that he has at his disposal compared to the others, I take a lot of the other guys over even
Yeah.
Daniel Jones weapons compared to what
Yeah, for
Drake May is
sure.
dealing with. So I feel like Drake May is showing why he's the was the best choice for New England Patriots when they drafted him, and he's
Mhm.
able to do what he's able to do, and especially behind Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's playing very hard, and if I'm gonna look at
Yeah.
another team, I think I'm not too sold on the Bills just yet. Like I do
I'm
think
not
they're
sold
gonna be
either.
there.
Yeah.
They're gonna be there. They're gonna be there. Trust me. Like they're gonna be in the playoffs, but they played out of their mind versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That wasn't like a normal Bills week in and week out type of thing. That was like Bills playing their Super Bowl versus the Kansas City Chiefs,
Mhm.
if we're being completely honest. But the thing is, Josh Downs is not going to get traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Like they're
Yeah,
that's
he would
out of the
never.
Indianapolis
Yeah.
Colts, especially right now. Um, AFC North,
Oh,
Steelers.
okay. AFC North, I want to talk about it. Lamar Jackson now being
I
back.
need they need to win the games though. I'm not going to say nothing until they go 500.
Okay. Okay, so let me
Their
just
schedule's
list you.
easy. I know their schedule's
Yeah,
easy.
let me just list you their schedule. Okay, this
But the
next one, I
Packers
feel
thought
like this is gonna determine
Packers
if
thought
they
the
go on a
Panthers
run.
were going to be an easy game also. So
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to the NFC. So, okay, I'll say this. This first game is tough right here. The Minnesota Vikings, who had a solid day against the Lions, the guy you love to hate, JJ McCarthy. Then it's Browns, Jets, Bengals. And then you have Pittsburgh twice, which I think they could win those. Then you have Bengals. Then the real test is week 16 and week 17 with the Patriots and the Packers. So I'm just saying the Ravens, I'm not expecting them to jump all the way to a top 3 seed, but with Pittsburgh struggling, really, I know they beat the Colts, but Baltimore really they control their own destiny at this point. Like if
yeah,
they
they
take care of
do.
Pittsburgh, so
But that's a
are
lot to
you back on the
ask.
hype?
No, I'm not. I'm not until
No?
they get to 500. Until they get to 500, I'm not. Like I just can't do it. Like 3 and 5 is
Mhm.
hard, bro. Like 3 and 5 is like
Out
not a good
mhm.
place to be.
Yeah.
Like and and in the rest of that division, like I know you look at the Bengals as a win, but the Bengals just dropped 42 in a loss, and the week before they dropped 38 in a loss. Like they're
Yeah.
like you have to really
Yeah.
like you have to be on your A game even when you play the Bengals because like
Yeah.
even though you score a lot, they're gonna score more than you probably. So it's gonna be um yeah, and Joe Flacco's playing out of his mind. Like shout out Joe Flacco. But
He he is like it's like the Bengals, they're a type of team where it's like
Jags,
you know you
frauds.
could beat them, but it's like
Texans
it's
are
gonna be a tough one.
Texans are very disappointing.
Texan
Like the Texans
well,
are very
especially with
disappointing.
CJ Stroud, that was a dirty play. I don't know which Denver defender did it. It was a dirty play. It's crazy how
Suspend them
their
next week.
defense is
Suspend them for
so
next week 11.
their defense is so damn good, but their offense is just so bad. I think statistically, all metrics,
I
the
think it's the
Houston Texans
line.
have the
It's
best
got to be the offensive line.
it is the offensive line,
I mean,
like
there's no shortage of wide receiver options, and there. I mean, I think Woody Marsh is serviceable. Like, I think he's a good
yeah,
rookie running back. If he had a good offensive line, he may be making some explosive plays.
yeah.
AFC West is just a bloodbath right now. Broncos, Chargers,
Okay,
Chiefs.
okay, let me say this. With the Chargers, Joe Alt being out, I dropped the Chargers down a lot because we saw how their
So,
offense looked
so my
without
thing
Joe
is,
Alt.
the Chiefs. I think can beat the Broncos twice this year. Like
You think so? You
and
don't think y'all split?
no, I don't think the Broncos are a good football team, bro.
So they're frauds, 7-2 frauds?
I mean, it's not the first time frauds have been 7-2.
Oh man,
I
it's
mean,
just
I
like
mean, we were basically 18-2 last year, frauds, and then we got destroyed it by the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl.
y'all weren't frauds. Y'all made the Super Bowl.
No, we were
That's
frauds, bro. We were frauds. Joe
man,
Tooney was starting at left tackle.
man, I'm just hearing the greed. Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl and frauds. That man, you're that just lucky right there. But okay, I'll say this. I agree that the Chiefs are better than the Broncos, but I think that the Broncos, if they face any other team, they will put up a great fight. I think y'all split
No,
versus Denver. I
I think the
think
Broncos
Denver
are gonna
wins at
come with
home.
their A game versus the Chiefs like they always do. I don't think the Chargers beat us again. Like I don't
I
think they
don't
beat
think
us
so,
again.
especially with Joe Alt. I'm telling you, Joe Alt
Yeah,
being out, that's we saw what
the
was it,
thing is, the
81
Chiefs have a
pressures in
tough
3 games?
schedule. Like the Chiefs have a tough schedule to end the season, so it's like they better just they better buckle up. It's gonna be a long
hmm
ride.
Yeah, like there's Baltimore, Jacksonville's in the picture right now. We don't know how long they stay in there. I don't think that if I had to predict like a team that jumps into the playoffs and teams that move out, I think Pittsburgh and Chargers move out, and I think Kansas City and Baltimore moves in. That's what I'll say. If I had to switch any from how it is right now. I still think Indy, New England, Denver, Buffalo. I think I think they still Jacksonville. I don't know
Nah, they
Jacksonville.
suck. They suck.
I think Jacksonville might be get in by default. They're 2 games ahead of everybody else. In all honesty, so so is there anything else in the AFC you want to really talk
Yeah, well,
about?
then they might just lose BTJ for a couple of weeks, bro.
Apparently, he might play next week. I did see something on that, but look, let me go to it
If he avoided injury,
wherever
that's
it's at.
great for me. But he also still sucks, so I don't know if that's great for me in fantasy football. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, bro.
it says he's questionable to return.
Before the season, I wasn't stressing on the BTJ stuff, but I have him now apparently for some reason in 4 leagues through trades, and like now I'm like pissed like
It's
everybody else.
yeah.
So
Yeah, welcome to the Piss BTJ club. Welcome welcome to it. And okay, this is random. Okay, as far as Ashton Genty from that game, Ashton Genty finally other than the Kansas City game, he's been he's been statistically been putting up those stats fantasy managers wanted. I'm not saying he was a first round pick. No, I'm not going to take BTJ from you, Ryan. No. Me and my counsel, aka the guy to the left of me, we discussed this already. But no. So it says BTJ, he should be back. But as far as Ashton Genty, he's finally proven maybe not a first round pick in fantasy football, but he's proven his competence. Maybe like a second or third round pick.
yeah,
That
he's working very hard to get what he's getting though. Like it's not like
yeah,
he's getting it
he's
easily.
he's working for every single yard. Yeah, no. I'll say that. Um, I don't I don't think there's I don't think there's anything else from this AFC, Josh. Nah, but all right. Let's move to this NFC side right here where there's a bunch of this is very crowded right here. So I'm gonna just list Okay, I'm gonna list the playoff teams and go from there. So Philly 1 seed 6-2, Tampa Bay 6-2, Seattle 6-2, Green Bay is 5-2, the Rams are 6-2, the Niners are 6-3, and the last wild card spot is the Detroit Lions who are 5-3. But in the hunt, Bears are 5-3, Carolina's 5-4, and Minnesota is 4-4. So very, very crowded right here. So you kind of go any point, and I'll just follow your lead from this.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, the two most important teams in this entire conference right now. I mean, okay, scratch that. Philadelphia Eagles just made some big moves. Like they just made
Yeah,
some really big splash moves.
yeah,
Jair, Michael Carter, and Jalen Phillips all
and
through trade. And for some reason, I feel like they're not done. Like I don't know. I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles they have one more move in
yeah,
them.
I don't think so
Hey,
either.
they're
Yeah.
taking my motto. I got one more move in me. I got one more move in me.
They're
So
like you in Dynasty.
yeah. So I mean, for them, you can't stop. And I think that last game, what they were able to do through the run with Saquon Barkley, very
Yeah.
scary for the rest of the NFL because if that offensive coordinator is able to figure it out that you have to give the ball to Saquon to be successful week in and week out consistently, and they might just keep giving it to Saquon Barkley. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, then he might go nuclear the second half of the season. So they're always a team to monitor. But I really want to look at this NFC West. Like I want to look at the Seattle
Okay.
Seahawks and I want to look at the Los Angeles Rams. And I know we have a guy that was usually on this podcast that argued his heart out for Matthew Stafford. But I think
Yeah.
equally an argument can be made for a guy that wears that green and that green, blue, and white and gray, whatever colors they
MVP
are. And
candidate last year too.
that's Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's career
Mhm.
resurgence needs to be studied. It's at a higher level than Geno Smith's was. He's actually
Yeah.
going absolutely insane, especially with a guy like JSN. I mean, JSN's going absolutely nuclear. 968 yards through 8 games, on pace for 2,000 yards.
It's
And I think he might do it.
insane, bro.
So that year 3 jump was insane. So right,
Yeah.
year 3 or year 2? No, year 3.
This is
Year
year
3.
3. Yeah, the year
Yeah,
3. Yeah.
so and dude, he is looking amazing, but they have a defense. They're one of the best run stoppers in the NFL, run defense in the NFL, and their secondaries holding a lot of people down. And as far as the Los
Mhm.
Angeles Rams, I mean, their offense is too high powered. They have a really good defense. I mean, Jared Verse, Byron Young, a couple of the guys that are there. But
Mhm.
if we look at facts, Rome's gonna do it next year. And then we look at the Rams, their offense, especially with Puka Nakua, there's not
Yeah.
many, or if not any, that are better than them when they're at full health right now this year because they're able just to put up points after points after points. And they were already putting up points without Puka Nakua with only Devontae
Mhm.
Adams. So I think those two teams right now for me, the head-to-head matchup is going to be amazing when they do play eventually. I don't know how soon they are going to play against each other,
Let me
but
check.
I do think those are for me the two favorites. I can't say that because the Packers they're still there, but they lost to the Panthers. I think they're still
Yeah.
to me outside the Eagles the favorites. The Seahawks and the Rams to get out of this conference and
Yeah.
maybe make the Super Bowl.
So, okay.
But the 49ers do have
Seattle and
reinforcements
the
coming
Rams, they
soon.
play November 16th. They do, but okay. I'll say this about San Fran. If they had either Fred Warner or Nick Bosa, I would say that would give them that edge. But I think just Seattle and LA, they have so many superstars that at this point, like you have so many good players. You need your superstars to be better than the other superstars. And okay, if I had to pick between Seattle and the Rams, they're so evenly matched. Even though Sam Darnold is playing so good, this is where I give the edge as far as playoff experience and winning a Super Bowl compared to where Mike McDonald, yes, great head coach, Sam Darnold playing his ass off the past 2 years. But Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are proven and they have won a Super Bowl together. So that's where I'll lean towards them. But it's like very close. It's a 50-50 in my opinion. With Philly, okay, Philly, I honestly I don't know. I don't know because are they going to give the ball to Saquon Barkley? They had one good week last week, in my opinion, but I don't know. I feel like they really don't have no identity. And
No,
so
but I feel like
Tampa
the respect
Bay,
is earned, and they've definitely
yeah,
earned that
okay,
respect.
yeah, the respect the respect is there. It's just I don't know. There's no real consistency. It's up and down offensively. Tampa Bay, I would say if out of those 4 teams, out of the Rams, Seahawks, Eagles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I would put them last just because although the Heisman is the Heisman, it's just I don't see them putting up a fight against those top 3 teams. Like as far as like it'll be a close game score wise, but just over the edge, especially with Mike Evans being out. Who knows if Bucky Irving returns for the year at all? So I think if they had those firepower guys, again, I think NFC it's all going to be about firepower, and AFC is just going to be who's going to face Mahomes. In all honesty, and okay, I want to kind of touch a little bit
Hey, if
onto Green
Mahomes
Bay.
wins Super Bowl from the wild card 2 times, he's the GOAT. I mean, he's already the GOAT, but I mean, it's
I
just
mean,
so
yeah,
undeniable at this point. I
you
mean,
know,
but like,
okay, I would say this. You know what's gonna suck for
you know
Mahomes?
what? You know what I hate? You know what I hate? People are saying Mahomes is overrated. Mahomes can't be the GOAT because
He lost to
he
Brady.
didn't win. Yeah, blah blah. Brady didn't win for 10 straight years. Like I don't know if people forgot about that. Like he did not go win a Super or go back to the Super Bowl. I mean, he lost to the Giants twice, but
Yeah,
he did not win a Super Bowl for 10 straight seasons. Like just saying, like he did not win a Super.
yeah,
So does Mahomes get the same treatment? You know, and plus he's been to more Super Bowls than Tom Brady did in his first part of his
yeah.
career. So
But I think it's gonna be since like we're in the Mahomes era right now. They're not. He's not gonna get that same luxury till after the fact.
yeah,
Same way Tom Brady didn't get the luxury while he was in his time. And like, what's gonna suck for Mahomes is that it's always gonna be over his head. A goat to goat matchup. Brady beat him. I know it's not that simple, but as far as casuals, they debate that. They debate that head to head matchup. And honestly, I think Mahomes, he's the greatest person to ever throw the
yeah.
football.
Yeah, and
But that's
offense with Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski,
Leonard
a
Fournette,
defense with Nadana Kumsu in his prime, freaking
Vita
Gerald
Vea,
McCoy, Levante
JPP.
David, Devin White, Richard Sherman. Like,
Yeah,
bro, come on.
yeah.
Come on. Carlton Davis, freaking Mike
Antoine
Edwards.
Winfield. Yeah. No, but okay. Let me
Hindsight, you
ask
never
you.
had a chance.
No, he really didn't with a bunch of backup linemen in. And okay, I want to ask you about this. The Green Bay Packers, they lost to the Carolina Panthers. It seems like every time Bryce Young plays bad, it equals Panthers winning football games. I know Brecken would be ecstatic talking about Bryce Young right now, but how do you feel about the Packers in all honesty? Because there's so much up and down by them. The Browns game, the Cowboys game, the Panthers game. It's just how do you feel about the Packers with them after that Micah Parsons trade being one of the NFC favorites? Now, honestly, I don't even view them in the top 3 contenders, in my opinion, in the NFC.
I think they become too reliant upon Micah Parsons. Like I think they become too
Mm,
reliant in the sense that they expect him to close out the game every single time rather than making big plays.
yeah,
You can definitely tell this they have athletes all over the field, but the secondary does struggle. Like I do think they do struggle
yeah,
versus some really good offenses that have really good catch receiving weapons. I mean, we saw it wholeheartedly versus the Dallas Cowboys, and they were what
yeah,
they were able to do to them, especially with the pass. And they can be had. And I do think a conference with a bunch of high-powered offenses, it's not a good place for the Packers to be right now. And they have to
yeah.
really capitalize on these wins. They can't on these losses on these games because you can't lose games to the Carolina Panthers and expect to be still be a favorite or still be a team that people view as one of these top tier teams in the National Football Conference, along with teams like the Seahawks and the Rams, where the Rams are always consistently within that plethora of playoff teams. The Seahawks are making a name for themselves right now. And the Packers are still there too. The Detroit Lions, for me, also have been not the same Detroit Lions that we once have saw before. Like they are
Yeah.
giving up games that they should necessarily be winning outright that they weren't doing before. They're kind of, I think, in the same boat as the Kansas City Chiefs right now. Like I
Mhm.
think they're in the same boat. Like that in
Mhm.
any given moment they can do whatever they want, but right now they just seem to come up short. Like sometimes when they really need to win the game.
Mhm. Okay. So I'll say as far as I get into that Detroit point, I think it wasn't necessarily Detroit losing, like it was their fault. I think Minnesota, some players finally got healthy. JJ McCarthy looked really good after a rest, and I guess he kind of cleaned up some things. Kevin O'Connell's one of the smartest coaches in the NFL. So I think it was more of that fact for them. And I really can't take away from the Lions. I think that's more credit to Minnesota. But like you're saying with the Packers, it's just like I do agree to that. And I've said this before. I said it even last year. There is a double agent on their team, and it's quarterback for them, number 10. I think Jordan Love, it sums up his play perfectly in that game where he scrolled all the way right, scrolled all the way left. I know it was fourth down. You had to make a play, but there was nobody there. There was nobody there. He threw it right to the defender. And I think what's going to hold them back, especially with Matt Stafford, with Baker Mayfield, even with Sam Darnold right now, how good he's playing. Jordan Love has to play up to their level, or or just not be reckless, and their talent could carry them there, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's all he needs to do. And you have teams on the outside like the Chicago Bears, Panthers, and Vikings who could really make a strike for any of those. Like they're just a game behind. So if you had to pick any three of those teams right there, who do you think would be the threat to make the playoffs out of those three, the Bears, Panthers, or Vikings? It's tough. I mean, I'm just saying,
I mean,
I
if
don't
you
know if you
asked me a
saw
couple
Baby
weeks ago,
Goat.
I probably would have said the Chicago Bears. But the thing is,
Mhm.
that defense is not there. Like that
It's
defense is
not, yeah.
absolutely atrocious. Like I think we've seen a couple of games where the Bears have gone nuclear on offense versus multiple teams. I do think Caleb Williams is still a little bit raw. Like I do think that
Yeah.
he's still learning a lot of things. Like you don't have to force the ball so hard every single time. Like you don't have to try making a big play. And he's not there quite there yet. Where Mahomes had to learn how to take the check down, how to learn how to do all these things. Like he isn't quite there yet. Like he still has to be able to develop those type of things. And as far as JJ McCarthy, I mean, I know I'm not one of the biggest McCarthy
You had to
fans,
give him
but
his flowers this week.
I have to give him I
He
have to
looked
give him
really
some
good.
respect because he did show up in this one. Um,
Yeah.
and with the Panthers, it comes
I
down to
don't
quarterback.
it's Rico
It comes
Dowdle.
down to quarterback.
It's Rico Dowdle.
Defense is okay. Defense is good. Rico Dowdle is balling. They have good receiving options. Quarterback. Quarterback's the way that they fail. And for me, that's why they're at the bottom of the three. I think it goes
Yeah.
Bears, Vikings, and Panthers for me on who I think
Yeah.
will absolutely finish at the top of this.
Yeah.
At the top of those three, at least.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, I don't know how. I think it's more of a testament to how good the Panthers are because Bryce Young is barely throwing for 100 yards and they're winning these football games. So I don't know how this is happening. Like, this just doesn't equal football math, like in any ways in history past. But it's just they're able to run the football so well. Dave Canales, we saw that with him in Tampa. So I just don't know. But yeah, no, I agree with you on the Caleb Williams sentiment. Like, he's still okay. He could go throw for throw with anybody, but he doesn't know, like, as far as quarterbacking, if that makes sense. Like, he has the best potential, but he's still learning how to be a quarterback. Also, shout out to you,
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. Like I said, for beating Marcos. Damien, you're next. You're next, Damien. I'm looking at you right in the eye right here, Damien. You're next in Dynasty. I'm just saying. I'm just saying I'm coming back. But all right. Let's go ahead and get into what we're talking about as far as the midseason awards. We're officially at the midseason point right now. And I know you wanted to touch up a little bit on MVP. So, is there any changes from this week to who's MVP?
No, for me, it's still gonna stay Drake May, but I already kind of addressed my sentiment. I think Mahomes for me is falling. It fell out of the top five. Like I do, I
Yeah.
don't, I can't put him in there, and it's gonna sound crazy for me, especially me, but
Yeah.
I can't do it if we're out of the playoffs. Like I
Yeah.
don't agree with that. So for me, I think it goes Drake May. They're gonna hate it. Josh Allen is number two. Josh Allen is the second MVP. It's I mean, it's not me, it's the odds. The odds is super in Josh Allen's favor to be MVP right now. He's leading by
Yeah.
nearly 300. So he's plus 150 right now. So
Yeah.
Josh Allen for me is number two. Number three will be Matthew Stafford. And number four
Yeah.
will be
Okay.
Sam
Matt
Darnold.
Stafford, number 3. We gained
Will
some
be Sam
leverage here.
Darnold. And then I think I'll slide back Mahomes in that fifth spot. So I
Mhm.
I, I think right there, I think that's the list. I think that's the order for me as of right now for MVP. And Drake May, we already harped on him earlier. What he's doing this season can't go unnoticed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. So if I had to give it like just not based on odds, like just quarterbacking, just because again, quarterback award, not gonna go into that. Drake May, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, then Sam Darnold, Mahomes. So the same, pretty much the same as yours. I would just move Matt Stafford ahead of Josh Allen. I'm just saying, statistically, he's just dominating. I mean, Brecken already talked about it last week. So, but I don't think it's the same top five. Maybe Baker could get back into that top five, in my opinion, but I think he'll have to go on a
There's a lot
run
of football
here.
left to play.
Yeah. I mean, we're just halfway into the season, but okay, so nothing really changed from MVP. Offensive player of the year. I feel like this is where it gets really interesting. At first, it was a Puka runaway, but now since he got hurt, it opens up things. There's really three guys that are really in the running. Who's yours?
I'm trying to.
Oh no, you're all good. No,
No,
so
I think for
go
me,
ahead.
it's going to be the very biased pick of it all, being because he's my dynasty receiver in both my dynasty leagues, and that's going to be Jason, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, I just feel like what he's doing this season, no one expected. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
968 yards through 8 games, on pace for over 2,000. Dude's a monster right now. He's able to do whatever he wants on the football field, and he just looks so poetic doing it. So I think for me, JSN is going to be my offensive player of the year. But if I were rank them in order, I think it'd be JSN, Jonathan Taylor, Puka, and then CMC.
Oh, you would have Puka over CMC?
Yeah, because I think Puka in his own right, I mean, dude came back and absolutely balled. So I just feel like
Yeah.
he's matchup proof, defense proof, like he's just you proof, like Morgan Wallen
Yeah.
says. So I don't know what Puka Nakua is. If he didn't miss any of those games, I do think he'd be easily number one right now. I mean,
Yeah,
not easily
I
because
agree
I
with
do think that these guys have all cases. Like Jonathan Taylor, if you were to pick Jonathan Taylor right now, I'd be like,
yeah,
okay,
that's
whatever. Like I can live with that.
mhm. Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning towards right now because I think what's gonna kind of hurt JSN is because Sam Darnold kind of has an MVP case compared to Daniel Jones. He really doesn't have an MVP case, and 895 yards, 12 touchdowns rushing, and then he also has 2 touchdowns in the receiving, so 14 total touchdowns. This dude is just like like you're saying, it's just they all equally have their own, but one guy that's kind of creeping up is Jamar Chase with how with how high scoring these games are. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamar Chase kind of sneaks back into it the last like 5 or 6 games or these next 5 or 6 games. I think he could really sneak into it. But but yeah, no, I would put CMC 3 right now. I just say Puka is kind of playing catch up at this point right now. But okay. DPOY. Personally, me, I feel like this is between three separate guys right here. Who are you taking?
Yeah, for me, it's just one guy, and I think that's Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons. I mean,
Mhm.
he's been the closer that they needed. He's been everything and more that they traded for. He's been he really the defense is him. Like he closes the games. He wreaks havoc on the run game. I feel like his run defense has gotten a lot better on the Green Bay Packers. I for some reason I do feel like that he's able to get there, and rushing the passer we know he can do, and he's leading the
Yeah.
charge for that Green Bay Packers team. So for me, it's gonna be Micah Parsons for defensive player of the year.
Okay, I'm gonna just say something real quick as far as with Micah. I know Cowboys fans, they still like quote unquote hate Micah. Micah was never a
So
bad run
hate him
defender.
for.
It's just that run def. Yeah, I know it makes no sense to me. His run defense was never bad. It's just everybody else around him was that terrible. It made it look that bad. But now he has an actual run defense around him that could actually stop. So they see how good he really is. But okay, I'm gonna pick. I would say Micah Parsons, but just to be a little bit different here, I'm gonna say Miles Garrett right here because he has 10 sacks and with that Browns defense. And I just want to give an honorable mention before I move on to the next one. If the Giants were actually good, Brian Burns would have a real case right now. Brian Burns, 11 sacks. So I just had to mention that. But all right, as far as the rookie of the years, we could say both of them right now. So who would you pick? the two from this class, offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year.
So defense for me, I think is between two people. I think it's between Abdul Carter and Will Johnson. Like I think Abdul Carter's been wreaking
Okay.
off havoc along that defensive line, and it's been quite easy when you have the guys next to you. But I do think he's made some big plays. He's really put his name out there this season in some pretty big games. And as far as Will Johnson, he's been absolutely shut down as far as a rookie cornerback can be. And
Yeah.
I do think that's something to look at, especially in your first season as a NFL cornerback and you're not struggling. I think that's pretty dope to see. And for me, it's between those two for
Yeah.
defensive, and for offensive. For me, I think I'm gonna lean towards Emeka Egbuka. I think he's gonna get back on track after dealing
Okay.
with that hamstring injury and then having some time off. I think for the second half of the season that he's gonna have a major role for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I mean he did in those first couple of games, but now Mike Evans is truly hurt and the rest of the team is also very young. So on that in that receiving core range, I mean Sterling Shepard takes them up to about like 38 and a half years age, but as far as everyone else, like they're still pretty down there. So yeah, Emeka Buka for me is gonna be the offensive rookie of the year.
Okay, so I'll start with defensive rookie of the year. As of right now, okay, I'll say this: there hasn't really been a guy who's like pop like crazy for defensive rookie of the year. So, like you're saying, Will Johnson or Adul Carter, I'll have to pick Adul Carter from there. He's had so much impact. Just it's opening up for Brian Burns to have all these sacks. So I kind of feel like the stats really don't tell his side of the story. But as far as offensive rookie of the year, where it gets really tricky, again, it leans more towards the quarterback. So I'll have to lean towards Jackson Dart because his stats are really going to start going up from there. So that's where I would have to lead to. But as far as for these last two awards right here, we could just say these very quickly. Coach of the year and comeback player of the year for these two. Who would
Yeah,
you
coach
pick?
of the year for me is going to be Mike Vrabel. The way he's been able to turn
Mhm.
around the New England Patriots, especially with a young quarterback, um, okay receiving core, okay offensive line, built up pretty much that defense back to what they are and showing what they are. And as far as comeback player of the year, for me, mm,
Really two just two guys.
it's gonna be Rasheed Rice. Like I think Rasheed Rice came back pretty hard. Just kidding.
I,
But I
I
mean,
was
I'm
gonna
looking.
say, I thought you were about
You
to
do know
make a case for him.
he's sixth in odds right now.
Really? He's sixth in odds? I thought he would be
He's plus
higher.
4,000.
Really? Oh well, okay, like with Dak, CMC. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
I have to go with Dak. I feel like Dak,
Hmm.
but they're losing, so I don't know if they'll use him. I feel like it's gonna be Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, for sure. I
Hmm.
mean, got hurt,
Hmm.
had a rough year last year with injuries. This year's going absolutely bananas. So yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
Christian
Okay.
McCaffrey.
I, I'm gonna say Dak. I'm gonna just lean towards my goat, of course, because why not? This is a biased podcast. Only award that it looks like Dak's gonna be able to get, even though he's having an MVP year. But as far as coach of the year, again, I agree with Mike Vrabel, but just to show something different, I'll say Shane Steichen, because at least with the Patriots, you kind of expected an improvement. With the Colts, you did not expect nothing with Daniel Jones as quarterback. So I'll say that. But all right, last things before we get out of here, we said our awards, our so-called MVP of the week. One guy that stood out throughout the week right here, Josh. Who is yours?
You know what? For me, it has really nothing to do with real life football, but everything to do with fantasy football. And I'm gonna have
Okay.
to go with Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers
I
dropping
was about to
40
say him too.
something
Yeah.
points in his
Yeah.
first game back, and I have him in Hector's Pookies. What a dog, dude! Like can't believe I tried trading you before you came back for value, but you went absolutely bananas.
Yeah. Brock Bowers just we see what he's at when he's finally healthy, and I just don't know why they didn't do that from the very beginning. So glad he had a day. But my so-called MVP, I want to go with my GOAT Caleb Williams, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna go with the running back here, Kyle Monangai, 26 carries, 176 yards, and do look like a monster. I know it's a Cincinnati Bengals defense, but first real start, and he proved exactly why. And also just honorable mention to Rico Dowdle, who I said was gonna start getting more of the burn. But all right, Josh, we actually finished underneath an hour, so that's a good thing right there. But any last words before we get out of here?
Good night, boys.
Yes, good night. We'll see you guys Wednesday night for our predictions. But before we get out of here, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSESA or the so-called sports analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. Make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. We will see you guys soon. Take care.